I died on the floor of my father's house while my stepmother tore the Zhao family's jade pendant from my neck. Lu Ruyan had spent 10 years draining my good fortune through a second pendant disguised as a gift. During those years, I fell from corporate management to cleaning offices, while her daughter, Lu Yue, rose from a troubled teenager to the owner of a listed company. "Did you think I married your father for love?" Ruyan asked as my vision dimmed. "The Zhao family has been living on stolen fortune for generations. I came to take it back." The pendant flared red in her hand. "I woke 10 years earlier, on the day my father introduced her as his future wife." "Tianming," he said, smiling with nervous hope, "Ruyan and I are getting married. I want you to treat her and Yue as family." Lu Yue was already staring at the jade around my neck. I remembered the rules I had learned too late in my first life. My grandfather's pendant stored a reserve of inherited fortune and sealed an older ritual. The dark imitation Ruyan had prepared could siphon luck from its wearer only after she completed a separate binding ceremony and named a recipient. Without that ceremony, it merely scattered the wearer's fortune into nothing. Ruyan handed me a gift box. Inside lay the imitation. "Thank you," I said, leaving it closed. At dinner, Yue begged to see my real pendant. I refused. Over the next few days, Ruyan performed the role of a perfect wife while Yue searched my room whenever she thought I was absent. I placed the imitation on my desk as bait. Yue took it. "If you like it, keep it," I said when I caught her. "Your mother gave it to me, but it suits you better." Ruyan tried to make her remove it. My father, unaware of the danger, insisted that a gift between future siblings should be accepted graciously. Before Ruyan could complete the binding ceremony, Yue's luck began to unravel. She tripped, chipped a tooth, missed an examination, and narrowly avoided a falling flower pot. The incidents were frightening but not fatal. I made sure she received medical care, even as I refused to take the pendant back in private. I wanted witnesses and answers, not another death. Ruyan entered my room one night and reached for the genuine jade at my throat. I switched on the light and activated the camera I had hidden on the shelf. "Why are you touching my pendant?" She claimed she had come to adjust my blanket. I retrieved the jade from the floor and told her that, according to my grandfather, it could be handled safely only by a member of the Zhao bloodline. The story was partly a bluff, but it frightened her because Yue's accidents had already begun. The following morning, with my father present, I offered to exchange pendants with Yue. Ruyan could not refuse without explaining why her own gift was dangerous. Yue removed the imitation at once, and her run of accidents stopped. I wore the dark pendant without completing its binding ritual, so it had no power over me. I then sealed it in a transparent evidence bag and placed it in a bank deposit box. The object Ruyan needed was no longer within reach. She tried other methods. She added a sedative to my tea, invited a fraudulent ritualist into the house, and entered my room twice more. I preserved samples, messages, and video. My father initially dismissed each event as a misunderstanding, but the pattern finally became impossible to ignore. "Why are you so interested in Tianming's pendant?" he asked her. Ruyan stopped pretending. She invited Yue and me to a private room in a tea house and placed 5 million yuan on the table. "Your pendant contains the fortune taken from the Lu family," she said. "Give it to me, and I will leave you alone." Her father, she explained, had once hired my grandfather as a geomancer. After that visit, the Lu family's business failed, her mother died young, and her brother was killed in an accident. An old photograph showed my grandfather outside the Lu estate holding a compass that now hung in our study. Ruyan believed he had stolen her family's prosperity and transferred it to ours. She also believed that Yue had been born with a dangerously weak life force and would die before 30 without borrowed fortune. If you wanted the truth, I said, you could have brought the diary and photograph to us. You chose to poison and rob me instead. I tried talking to your grandfather. He denied everything. Then we investigate. We do not decide that one young person's life is payment for another. I took copies of the records but refused her money. Among my grandfather's papers, I found a sealed letter addressed to me. His account complicated everything. 40 years earlier, Ryan's grandfather had attempted a forbidden 7 lives ritual. 7 vulnerable people died in incidents arranged to look accidental, and their stolen fortune was bound to the Liu estate. My grandfather discovered the ritual, used the Liu family's own compass to break it, and sealed the remaining force inside the Zhao pendant. The Zhao family prospered afterward, but the letter admitted an uncomfortable truth. Instead of returning what could be returned to the victims' families, he kept the sealed reserve under Zhao control. He had stopped a crime and then benefited from its aftermath. Ryan's father had recorded only the family's losses, not the 7 deaths that produced its earlier wealth. Archive searches and newspaper reports confirmed those victims existed. My grandfather's letter named them, and his notes matched the dates. When I showed Ryan the evidence, she broke down. Her father had raised her on a story in which the Liu family was purely innocent. Learning about the victims did not erase what my grandfather had withheld, but it destroyed her justification for sacrificing me. I was wrong, she said. I thought I was restoring justice. Justice starts with the people whose lives were taken, I replied. Not with either of our families becoming rich. We agreed to place both pendants, the compass, and the historical records with an independent cultural foundation while experts examined them. My father finally understood why secrecy had endangered all of us. Before the transfer could occur, Ryan's former mentor appeared. Hei Song had helped her learn the binding ritual. He had also inherited the unfinished work of the original practitioner who designed the 7 Lives ceremony. He did not care about Yue's health or either family's grievance. He wanted the sealed reserve for himself. He attacked us in the tea house parking structure and attempted to tear the pendant from my neck. The jade formed a brief barrier of light, but I could feel the seal weakening. Ryan stepped between us long enough for Yue to trigger the emergency alarm. My father arrived with police and 2 historians from the Foundation who had experience handling ritual artifacts. Hei Song was restrained after a struggle. He survived, was treated for his injuries, and faced charges for assault, extortion, illegal confinement, and earlier fraud. No mysterious duel replaced an investigation. His attempt damaged the seal and released the 7 victims' memories. For nights, all 4 of us dreamed the same fragments: a collapsed stair, poison medicine, a sabotage carriage, a mother calling a child's name. The Foundation's researchers concluded that the energy could not simply be given to either family. The only stable solution was voluntary renunciation by the current Zhao heir, followed by restitution in the victims' names. I agreed. The ritual did not require blood or death. At the graves of the 7 victims, with descendants present where they could be found, I opened the pendant seal and surrendered every advantage it had preserved. The Foundation established scholarships and compensation funds using assets contributed by both families. My grandfather's full account was published rather than hidden to protect our reputation. Light moved from the jade in 7 quiet streams and disappeared. I did not become sick or destitute. I simply stopped receiving improbable promotions, effortless investments, and convenient coincidences. For the first time, my achievements depended only on my work and circumstances. Yue's supposedly fatal condition also proved less mystical than Ryan believed. A specialist diagnosed a treatable heart rhythm disorder that had gone unnoticed. With medication and regular monitoring, she could live an ordinary life without stolen fortune. "Ordinary sounds wonderful," she said. 6 months later, I worked in a mid-level position rather than an executive suite. The salary was smaller, but the work was honest and the pressure manageable. Yue returned to school. Ryan entered therapy and cooperated fully in Hae Song's prosecution. My father apologized for ignoring warning signs simply because he wanted his new marriage to be perfect. I did not call Ryan "Mom" immediately. Forgiveness was not amnesia, and trust needed time. She accepted that. Gradually, through ordinary meals, accountable choices, and a complete absence of secret rituals, we began to form something like a family. The jade pendant remained with the foundation, inert and carefully documented. It had completed its purpose. I once thought losing half my fortune would leave me with half a life. Instead, it returned my life to me whole, uncertain, unprotected, and truly mine.